I'm going to read you a story about a police department in upstate New York. This is pure dystopia. This is taking powers away from the police and how society behaves as time goes on as the police have lost their powers. This is a police story from my hometown in upstate New York. Before I read this story, I have to tell you my opinion on a few things. It's really sad that police have to share the full story from start to finish for society to get the memo, because people like this, recording, lying, take it out of context and cry victim. Police are trained to de-escalate, diffuse. They're not out to get ya. They're there to calm you the fuck down so you don't get arrested. Well, that's how police are in Jamestown, New York anyway. So on August 3rd, 2025 at 1:30 a.m., officers responded to a bar who called them. Upon arrival, officers located several subjects fighting outside of the bar. Can we just take a moment to address bartenders and how you should quit fucking overserving people so this doesn't happen? Because of your negligence, now it's the police officer's job to babysit adults. Break up a bar fight like a bunch of fucking toddlers. So there's a group of people outside fighting. Officers began separating individuals in an attempt to disperse the growing crowd. While doing so, one of the individuals shoved the officer. This individual was given multiple commands to back away. So again, this individual shoves the officer. Now this is crazy to me because police gave him a warning to back away without even arresting him. So had he backed off, he wouldn't have gotten arrested. Maybe not. But instead, he shoves the officer again, so now he has the officers attempting to arrest him. A brief struggle ensued, and he was taken into custody while the crowd began to surround the officers. This is what happens when left-wing extreme ideologies strip police of their powers. Society evolves believing they're above the law and to resist authority. They don't feel embarrassed when police are called on them. They take it as a challenge when police are called on them. So you've got New Yorkers who believe they can undermine authority. And let's read what happens. A crowd starts to surround the officers. At this point, officers deployed OC spray to disperse the crowd. What else are you going to do when you're outnumbered by a crazy crowd of drunks who were just fighting each other? Now they're trying to fight the police. As this is happening, police are spraying the crowd. The individual who was arrested is being escorted to the police vehicle. So you have the officers trying to back the crowd away with spray, and another officer trying to escort the individual to the police vehicle. And while this happens, a woman points her pepper spray at the officers. She starts threatening that she's going to spray the officers back, and then she ends up arrested. During this time, other individuals start fighting again. So now more officers are trying to break up the fights, and a second woman swings at an officer. And she hit him right in the eye, and he suffered an injury. So now you have an officer who was physically injured, and other officers attempting to arrest the girl who just punched an officer in the eye. While they're attempting to arrest her, the crowd is pulling at the officers in an attempt to save their friend from being arrested after she just assaulted an officer. But eventually, she gets arrested, she gets detained, and now she's in police custody with the other two individuals. So you have guy number one who punched the officer, girl number two who threatened to spray the officer with pepper spray, girl number three who assaulted an officer. They're now all detained in custody. The police leave with the three subjects. 2 out of the 3 left on appearance tickets. The one who assaulted the officer remains in jail due to New York State bail reform. New York State, that is so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. And why aren't bartenders in New York required to have training and a license? I blame the state for stripping police officers of their power and not requiring bartenders to utmost standards. These bartenders who want to be buddy-buddy with their patrons, have shift shots, drinking on the job, partying with their patrons, no. Over-serving. Bartenders like this are a liability on the business. Bartenders like this are a liability to public safety. That includes the police. The worst part is that these bar fights happen at that bar all the time. And if a certain type of people know that they can get away with being belligerent, drunk, if they know they can get away with over drinking without being cut off, they're going to attract more of those people and your bar is going to be out of fucking control. If I were that bar's owner, I would fire every single bartender. Fuck that. That's embarrassing. I would require my bartenders to have training. I would require for them to have certifications of their training. If they drank on the job, they'd be fired. When I was bartending in Pennsylvania, you would literally not only get fired, you could get fined for drinking on the job. That's the thing with New York. Bartenders go there for social acceptance. Like, I've noticed this. Bartenders are there to like socialize and intermingle as like some socialite. It's a job. You are a liability when you're a bartender. And now you have police being called to your bar all the time because you can't enforce the fucking rules. You have police getting assaulted because you don't know how to cut people off and you don't know how to kick people out when they're belligerent. If people are acting shady, you can kick them out of your bar. It's not going to slow down business. What slows down business is attracting people who are criminals to your bar. And the real people who give big tips and spend money aren't going to want to go there because they're not going to feel safe. They're going to be scared of getting robbed. But let's rewind and talk about the police. Let's rewind and talk about how New York has stripped police of their powers. And well, yeah, people get arrested. Sometimes they go to jail. But let's rewind and talk about how the crowd behaved. New York has stripped police powers away, which has led society into undermining their authority, which, as time evolves, makes people think they're above the law and they don't have to respect police. Okay, you don't. You don't have to. I guess you don't have to respect police, but it's pretty fucking embarrassing if you don't. When you have a state like New York taking away police powers, all you're doing is telling society that they can act and behave like menaces. And then let's talk about how the crowd behaved. Instead of being embarrassed and diffusing when the police show up to a bar in New York when there's an out of control bar fight, the people fighting don't get embarrassed. They don't stop because they know they're not going to jail. That would be like in high school. If a student breaks the rules, they get a disciplinary write-up and that's it. They just get a disciplinary write-up. If a kid steals another kid's phone in school and they know that all they're going to have to face is a write-up and a talking to, they're going to keep stealing cell phones. And that is exactly what's happening in the state of New York. They strip police of their powers. All police can do is write them an appearance ticket, and they're back out on the streets committing crimes again, which affects society's behavior. And it's evolved in New York State now as, oh, we can do whatever we want. And the police try to diffuse. We don't have to diffuse. You don't tell me what to do. They resist. They, instead of diffusing, escalate because they have no respect for authority. Like, what is wrong with the world right now? If police show up, you should feel embarrassed, shut the fuck up, and leave. Like, if they tell you that, if they tell you to shut the fuck up and leave, you know what I mean? And police, I'm sorry. If they show up and tell you to diffuse, disperse, and get out of here, you should probably just diffuse, disperse, and get out of here. Which translates to shut the fuck up and get out. But now you have social media and psychological warfare demoralizing groups of people into thinking they have the power. They write the authority. They pick and choose what they decide to do. And that is literally leading to anarchy. And can we quit only sharing 25% of the story to social media? Where, oh, they pepper sprayed me. And you got someone with their phone like this getting pepper sprayed by police. And you just don't share the other 75% of the story. Can we quit doing that? Because that would be really great. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying that happens all the time and you know it. At the end of the day, police don't want to respond to these calls. They don't want to. Police are not out to get you. If you actually think that you are a target of the police, you're paranoid. They don't want to be there as much as you don't want them to be there. Which is why they're there to diffuse. They're there literally to keep people safe. And if they know that you will comply and diffuse and move the fuck on, so will they. It's not until you have jackasses shoving police officers, surrounding them in an angry crowd, threatening to pepper spray them, elbow them in the face, and assault them, that's when you get arrested. That's not you being a target. That's you being a jackass. Know your place. Respect authority and grow up. And shout out to upstate New York, because reading that bar fight story triggered me.